Hey everyone, I wanted to make some videos to go over these questions uh, in case you have questions. Since we will be doing this independently today, using tangent in the real world, Lindsay gets nosebleeds whenever she is more than 300 feet above the ground. During a class field trip, her teacher asks if she wanted to climb the top of the Statue of Liberty. Since she does not want to get a nosebleed, she decides to take some measurements to figure out the height of the torch of the statue, I guess, because you can get up on the torch. I've never been there. She found a spot directly under the torch and then measured 42 feet away and determined the angle up was 82 degrees. So let's draw this out. So let's see, where can I write? I can write it here. So let's pretend that she's standing here. This is Lindsay. And we know she said that she was 42 feet away from the torch. So actually, let's do this. Oops. Okay, so what if I go straight up to the torch? That's the line I'm looking at here. And then Lindsay, where she is standing, that is what she's saying she is 42 feet away. Okay, so she's 42 feet away from being directly under the torch. And then she figured out that this angle, she figured out a reference angle right here that was 82 degrees. So she figured out that this reference angle was 82 degrees. She wants to know, and that her eyes are 5 feet above. So we'll deal with that later. But it's basically saying that we're doing all of this, but it's happening 5 feet above the ground because that's where her eyes are. Okay. So the angle, let's move that angle up a little bit. Actually, oops. I thought it would just erase one line. The angle is actually up here where her eyes are, and that's what's 82 degrees. So we're trying to figure out how tall it is. We want this to be our variable. We're trying to figure out how tall it, how many feet it is up to the torch. So we want to know the rise, and we have the run, and we have the angle. So we know that the rise is the same as the opposite, and the run, this 42 feet, is the same as the adjacent. So we can use the tangent. So we know the tangent of 82 degrees is equal to x over 42. So to figure out x, we just need to know, or we need to get x by itself. So we need to multiply both sides by 42. Why does it keep making my 4s look like 9s? $42. So multiply by 42, multiply this side also by 42. And over here, this cancels out. So we get x by itself. And now we're going to need the calculadora. Okay. And since I have an angle measurement, I don't need to use the inverse. I just use the regular tangent. So I literally just have to put in, since there's no variable there, 42 times tangent, which is above the 9, 82. Make sure you're in mode degrees. And I get 298.8. Let's call that 290. You okay, Arnold? Let's call that 200. Now I forgot. 299 feet. But, and here's where it's tricky, but it wants you to remember that that's from her eyes, which are 5 feet above the ground. So we have to add on that 5 feet to get from the ground to the top of the porch, or the torch. So that should be mental math, 304 feet. So X is 304 feet is how high the torch is off the ground. And the question is, should she climb to the top or will she get a nosebleed? Well, it says she gets nosebleeds whenever she's more than 300 feet above the ground. So we discovered if she went to the torch, she would be at least 304 feet above the ground. So she would in fact get a nosebleed.